Hi everyone, this is Privet Palm Beach Presents, bringing you everything Palm Beach. We are jumping into our first collaboration with Perfectly Palm Beach, hosted by Janie Chase. Please enjoy and subscribe to our Privet Palm Beach Presents Apple or Spotify channel to follow along.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Perfectly Palm Beach. I'm your host, Janie Chase, and today we are in our new studio, so we're super excited about that. And I have great guests today talking about skincare because, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, that's the thing that we all have to be focused on, our self-care, and everybody I know is always talking about different products that they use. And today I'm so excited to introduce you to the owners of Halo42, Tim, Quinn, and Mark Turnipseed. So, hey guys, welcome to Perfectly Palm Beach.
Thank you. That really flowed.
Did it flow?
Mark Turnipseed.
Oh, good. I know. Well, it's such a fun name to say. Turnipseed.
Right?
You only had to practice it one other time, and I'm highly impressed by that.
Well, it's a great name. It really is great. And it's plant-based, right? Which leads us
that little
right,
segue there.
right into those products. So tell us, guys, I had never really met you guys before. I had met Tim just recently, actually, at an outdoor antiques fair with your products.
That's the fair where I was melting in the sun.
It was so hot that day.
Going the extra mile.
Right.
Good Lord, I know, it's our dedication. But we also sell products at the same store.
Yes.
Which we love,
do.
Pioneer Linens,
Pioneer
one
Linens.
of the many that we sell at. So Tim, let's start with you. Tell us how you kind of got to where you are today.
It's all a mystery to me still, actually.
No.
You know, I've been in South Florida part-time for probably 20 years or maybe more. But when the pandemic came, I left my former career at Armani L'Oreal and moved.
Oh, could you
first to
say that a
Boca.
little louder? Because that's amazing. I mean, Armani, L'Oreal.
Yeah, so for 20 years, I was the vice president of artistry for Mr. Armani, which is a partnership, because it's a license through L'Oreal. So I have this like dual role of answering to the Italians and then to the French. So I learned patience and no languages. But I loved it. I really had an extraordinary time. I traveled all over the world. And then the pandemic came and I quit my life. My mom had just started developing dementia. She was in Boca and I didn't want her alone. So I took her out. I moved her in with me.
So sweet. What a good son you are.
It's like, she's a good mom. And even if she wasn't, she's my mom. What are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
And
you only get one, baby.
Yeah,
That's what I tell my kids every day. You only get one, guys.
Well, of course, I have people lined up who want me to take, because my mom has passed now. So people who are moms who don't have kids are like, "Look, you come with me." But I was taking care of her, and it was amazing. And I would do this on-camera makeup for her every single day for nearly 2 years to really engage her mind. And to me, it was important because the beauty space, I think, sometimes can seem frivolous. But I know really well, what it is. I know firsthand when I had cancer, when I didn't look like me anymore and how people would treat me, and my strength would come from inner, right? So I would do what I could to kind of balance. And the same with my mom, like by making her look on the outside much like she used to look in her younger days. Yeah. A little part of her came back and it became a thing. And then I thought, well, I need to take care of myself now. So I actually read Mark's first book. And it was extraordinary of someone who, really transformed their life. And he was offering online coaching, like health and wellness. So I thought, this would be interesting. I can do this while I'm taking care of her. I wrote to him. He wrote me back rather quickly that he was no longer doing online coaching. He was leaving, I think, Atlanta, right?
Yeah, well, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
I was driving through Atlanta on my way down.
And he's like, oh, I'm only taking in-person coaches or people in Boca Raton. I'm like, well, that's where I lived at the time. So, talk about divine intervention.
That's right.
We ended up working together. And,
when the student's ready, the teacher arrives, right?
Right. And I did not want in person because it's much more fun when you can just get online and be like, okay, I'm going to do that when you get off. His approach to everything was more, it wasn't just like physical coaching. It was like resetting your mind on how you eat and how you think and, meditation and yoga, all things dabbled in and out of, but when you're busy,
It's hard.
unfortunately,
It's
the
hard to work it
mindful
all into your.
self-care usually takes a back step. And it wasn't long before we kind of started talking about his transformation, what we were doing, and how our worlds collide, and it just made sense.
Well, and Mark, how did your world collide with Tim's, and what's the contribution to the product line itself?
Well, I think that, yeah, he hired me as his wellness coach, and as we started to work together, I saw it as being much, much more. Tim has a very special character about him that is very, very unique. And I could see immediately why somebody like Giorgio Armani would hire him to be the face of his makeup and beauty line, So I knew initially upon working with Tim that I was in the presence of somebody really special, and I could see that patience that he had spoke about. And honestly, you mentioned like the teacher shows up when the student is ready, but I feel like it's the other way around almost with Tim. I felt like I've learned almost more from him in a way than he ever learned from me, wellness wise. But I basically had just started in my life, honestly. I was in my 30s, fairly slow to come to age because I had gone through addiction issues. And those addiction issues just pulled me back in time, a little bit. But in order to get out of those addiction issues, I had to dive really deep into wellness, which ultimately would lend me with a whole bunch of knowledge that I would be able to help, spread. And I recognized as I got sober and as I got healthy that was my greatest gift, is my story and my experiences.
It put you on your path.
Yeah, and although I had a degree in psychology, I had a degree, a minor in religion and philosophy. So I had a good head on my shoulders to start understanding this at a deeper level. So I felt like I was ready to start coaching and helping people. And so that's when, Tim reached out to me, and I was super excited to be working with him. And as we started to develop more and more of a relationship, we started to see that not only could we be helping one another, we could be helping other people. And that's when we actually started our first event. So Halo42 actually was an event about inclusivity and letting go in the gym and being more open with yourself and expressive and allowing yourself to have fun in the gym, have fun with your nutrition, let this thing not be so serious.
Right. It's not a burden.
On.
I want to read a quote, you guys, that I have, which I think kind of really to me speaks to what you've taken and infused in these products and what you've taken from your role in creating the ingredients, I should say, right? It says, beauty begins with authenticity and is elevated through intention. So I thought that was just really unique. I've never seen any other beauty product, skincare product really, that addresses those kind of, deep spiritual, to me, it's sort of pretty basic stuff, being authentic and having intention. Yeah. But for a lot of people, that's not exactly where they come from. But talk about that in relation to the product development, guys.
Well, when it came time when we landed on we were going to do skincare, because it had a story that resonated with both. It authentically worked because one of the ingredients that soon became the base of this line, the copaiba, was something that
Copaiba. And resin, right?
It's a resin. It's from a tree in South America. It's extraordinary because they don't destroy the tree in the Amazon. They tap it, much like maple syrup. So it's sustainable.
Oh, interesting.
It has extraordinary healing benefits. When Mark told me about it, because it's what he had taken to really heal his lungs, and I'd never heard of it, and
I'd never heard of it until I read it, that you guys use it.
And it just made sense because then it was something that we knew he could authentically talk about. And then when we ended up in Peru and went and saw what some of the other extraordinary skin health benefits, it just completely made sense. And it was something that like resonated with both of us. And
There
we
was
literally
no questions.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were doing.
What
by the
kind
way.
of healing properties
I was
does it
just-
have, you guys?
Just learning that this stuff was an extremely powerful antioxidant with anti-inflammatory capabilities for the skin, and the evidence that it actually had worked on my lungs, it was just a no-brainer that
So it's
this,
not topical, it's also
internal.
Yeah.
And that to us meant a lot too, because I kind of felt like, and we speak about intention, that I wanted things that have benefit internal and external, right? I wanted things that you could both consume, and there was beauty from the inside out, not only in the ingredient though, also in the thought and the expression of the application of the ingredients, right? So knowing that this copaiba, as you put it on, is reducing the inflammation, actually going into your mind and visualizing this, increasing the productivity of said ingredients and the nutrition of different ingredients that you eat. That's basically how you bless food. And I believe that that's how you get further and deeper connected with both nature and with yourself, allowing your skincare routine to be a moment and an opportunity actually where you get to shift your perspective from a place of challenge and difficulty to a place of hope and prosperity.
Yeah, I so love that, you guys. I mean, I don't think many people, most of us, and if there's anything that came out of the pandemic, I think, is that this message of self-care is so important, and that we kind of neglect ourselves because we're in this, culture where it's push, 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 get ahead, get ahead, get ahead.
Right.
And, I have this conversation with my kids a lot, because we're all like, oh, we can do that. We can handle anything. And then all of a sudden you're in the middle of doing it and you're like, oh my God, how did I get myself here? And so I think just having that intention early on is understanding that you can't do everything and you shouldn't do everything. But I think having the healing properties of that in the product is so cool. I love that idea of that. So tell us all the different products in the line, and how do we use it, and how do we set our intention and make sure that
It's so interesting because it's like, first of all, thank you for this conversation, because honestly, you're the only person outside of the Oprah Daily that's actually really dove into this story. I think a big part of it is what happens when you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's the scent.
the scent is quite beautiful. Sorry, guys, you can't smell
the
this.
body wash is, oh yeah, I forgot, you can't smell
You
it.
can't
We
smell
don't
it.
have that
Yeah.
capability.
We don't have scratch and sniff capability yet, technology.
Didn't they have
but
that in movies or something?
somebody should do that. Exactly.
But it happens. It
In
happens.
your 3D glasses, you should be able to do some kind of scratch and
Right
sniff
now,
or
it's going to
something.
make me hungry. But it was hard because online when we even talk about it. But the shower gel, which is probably, it's weird. We only have the 4 products in line. So there's the Bath and Body Shower Gel, the Face and Body Elixir, the Anti-Aging Eye Oil, and the Soothing Face Wash. It's hard to say which is which most important, but a lot of times you're shifting in the shower, in the bath, right?
There's no question, because the shower, it's where I sort of do some meditating,
Yeah.
because the water knocks out all the voices.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you can only hear your own.
Yeah.
It
or
kind of
whoever
like
else is- what else
washes
is
away.
being
rinses
used.
them
It's like
away,
a
and-
cleansing ritual day and night.
Exactly.
The scent is just extraordinary, but it has the argan oil and it has the shea butter, so it's a different experience of, whether it's a bath or a shower, your skin is left feeling supple, but it's also the scent kind of overtakes you, and it's kind of like, remember that ad, Calgon Take Me Away or something?
Yes.
Like there's something that
Yes.
happens organically with the scent of that product that literally,
Love that.
I
So
mean, I
there's a
take it to the gym sometimes because I don't want to use their stuff.
body wash,
And
body
then
moisturizer for the body, and then 2 products for the face, right? Which is,
Right.
what are those again for the
So
face?
the anti-aging eye oil, which is an eye oil developed again because obviously I still do a lot of makeup, and usually with women or men, the eye area seems to be the area that we freak out about the most.
Absolutely hate it. I hate it. I don't use it. You can tell. I don't use it. I hate it.
And I
Do you
never
have the eye oil? Yeah.
No,
No.
but I'm.
Well, I
Well,
never
then you
I'm
use
gonna
need to
get
try
it.
the eye oil.
Yeah.
like
If
when
you
I
hate
would do
creams, you'll
makeup.
love oils a lot of times.
The oil penetrates. It doesn't leave you that weird.
That
It's not
sticky
filler
thing.
in it. It's not.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's
Yeah.
a really extraordinary product, and it's super lightweight and hydrating. The Face and Body Elixir. I mean, we have had such extraordinary reviews from people that
This is what you put under your moisturizer.
And this is going to be
Right.
the
you can use it
this is
as
going to
your
be a
moisturizer
really
if you like.
this is going to be a really healing experience. And like the body wash is going to set the stage for that, just like the face wash is going to set the stage for the eye oil, And it's this face and body elixir, if you're down in South Florida and you get in the sun and you're out on the beach all day, there's not a body wash that you can put on your sunburned skin that's not going to leave it dry,
It's very
except for
true.
this one. Like this one is going to be one of your most deeply moisturizing, body washes that you can find on the market. And then if you put this face and body elixir on afterwards, this stuff is going to decrease the inflammation of that said sunburn, right? So it's going to actually like withdraw the stress response. It's going to pull back the stress response of your skin, calming your skin down, and ultimately also allowing the moisture to soak in, because sometimes our skin is so stressed out, may it be from cognitive emotional stressors, nutritional stressors, environmental stressors like the sun. It's just going to be stressed out, and we've got to calm it down to put the nutrients and to put the moisture on the skin.
So it's ready to absorb all of it,
Yeah,
right?
and this is why people are finding this effective for even deep stress issues like eczema, psoriasis, all sorts of issues. Yeah.
Let me ask you something, you guys. I'm going to do one little shift away from the spiritual stuff,
Yeah.
although I could talk about it. I mean, we could spend a week in here. I have so much to say about all of that, but I'm curious about the people that are listening that are thinking about, well, how did they literally, logistically do this? How did you get the bottles? Where did you get it made? How did you do all the stuff that got you, to having an actual product? Because a lot of people who want to kind of do something, that's where they get stopped. They've got the idea, but they don't know the resources of how you actually like get it all made and get it out there.
Well, let me just first start by saying that you really can do anything. You're right, you can't do everything, but you really can do anything you put your mind to. For instance, Tim and I had no idea how to do any of this.
None.
But we knew that if we put our mind to it, that if somebody else had done it before, that we could surely do it. And so all it is taking that first step. Because you're right, many people out of fear are unwilling to take that first step. What Tim and I did is we went and started banging on doors that weren't even open at the time. It was COVID, and so manufacturing labs were not open.
Yeah,
and so we
and
went
we wanted to
around.
work with only U.S. space,
Yeah.
obviously, because we couldn't leave the country.
We started driving around and literally knocking on doors till somebody would open the door. And then that's where the conversation started, where we started to meet the people who knew where to get packaging, who knew how to source the ingredients that we wanted. And so that's ultimately what ended up happening.
It was, I mean,
The
we
whole
had a
thing.
million no's before we got a yes. I mean, people wouldn't even take our calls. They wouldn't let you come in the building.
Without $3 million
Yeah.
purchase order.
And that's not what we had. We were doing, we knew what we wanted.
Yeah.
And then we ended up like divinely in Charleston, South Carolina, at a lab we didn't even know it existed.
Amazing.
While
And they were
visiting a
extraordinary.
friend with cancer. So
Yeah.
we were actually up there and the only reason why I went is I was worried about Tim driving alone because it was his best friend who was dying of cancer. And so
And she
I went
insisted
too.
that we come and go see this lab. And really, really just to placate her, I'm like, fine, Mark, let's just drive over there, But it was the same thing, and you saw it firsthand with Kim when all she wanted was us to come and for me to like massage her face. And she was like, Jimmy, please go. And then we go to this lab in Johns Island. First of all, it looked like something out of a movie set. It was extraordinary. The husband and wife that own it were from Connecticut and knew my grandparents. Like, it was a very strange thing. And then we go to lunch with them, still thinking like we're just doing this to make her happy. And Mark's sitting with the dad, who's like this big guy, and I see him bawling, the dad. I'm like,
starts
"Now
crying.
what?" He starts crying. Well, their son had been actively going through some issues with drugs. And when he saw the other side as a possibility, and then the mom is an esthetician and had like recreated this
I mean, all
cottage,
these
it all just made
coincidences, it all
sense,
Yeah.
comes through.
And they knew how to
Incredible.
work with Copaiba.
And that's
and
what
it's
happens.
a clean lab.
So they had heard of Copaiba.
And they
Yeah.
only work with organics. Their lab is clean. Like, it hit all the marks
Yeah.
to the point where it was like, no, all right, this is where we're working. And then
We're in business.
You know.
Here it goes.
It
They
just
did the
happened.
bottling, everything. They did the packaging with you.
And this is our second round. We made a few mistakes for the packaging.
Well, that's how
What's
you learn.
interesting is
Yeah.
you can bang on as many doors as you want. You just got to keep banging, but ultimately God's going to open up which door you need to actually walk through. And that was, the lab in Charleston that we ended up walking through to make these. Because not only that, they're also extremely good to work with. They invited us into the lab. I was able to take, an amount of shea butter and stick it in this and see how it was going to be different.
It was so fun.
The experimenting, right?
Yeah, it was a beautiful
they did pull us
experiment.
back at one point because I was like,
We had to
trying to
leave.
bake a cake with stuff. I'm like, oh, we can put this all together. But it happened rather quickly too. We went from the idea in July, really, when we formed the LLC, to market the following April with product, which is really
incredible.
not.
And the packaging
you have a
has been
business
an
plan?
evolving process.
No business plan.
There's no
Well,
plan.
we
Right.
met with a few advisors, like the city people, those like everything you read about, and they were helpful, but it wasn't getting us where we needed to be, because then they want to sit and, I'd come from L'Oreal. You could have a meeting about a meeting for the rest of your life, or you can just make a decision and we're going to go with it. If we make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. We'll start again, or we'll shift direction. It's not that hard.
You just got to jump in and do it.
It's true. I think that it's a funny thing that a lot of people I know that are on these kinds of paths, building a company with products, including myself, is that when the stuff keeps coming into you, there's an alignment. I mean, it's almost what is meant for you comes to you, no matter what you do.
Exactly.
And I think that's such a beautiful message. And it's something that's new for me. I mean, I just sort of thought you had to keep going and you work and you work and you work. But sometimes that's just not what's true in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that people are so drawn to both of you and to the products speaks to, what the success to me, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
Don't you guys agree?
We've been very fortunate, honestly, but it goes back to, the quote earlier, like, and I've said that all along when I would coach all these young kids, makeup artists, like, if you just show up and you be authentically you, don't try and be the other person.
Yes.
It just happens.
It just happens.
And,
exactly.
Mark kind of rebooted me. What was that word you used?
Because each individual is a little key to the universe, and we're all not complete without all of it.
Because what did you say? I was in despair when I met you. I was so mad when he said that. But in retrospect, it's true, because
that you were in despair.
Because we think of that word in a bad way, but the reality was I had forgotten who I was, because I spent so much time making all these people happy in a world that doesn't really matter.
And let's face it, like, no matter how good you look on the outside, and no matter how much you've risen above out of your own, apparent despair, there's still certain things that if you look into your life, you're going to go, because life is but a rose garden to me. And there's always weeds. There's always places that if you look into it, there's room for improvement. And ultimately, action, I believe, is just the inverse of discomfort. And to get somebody to start taking action on the little areas of their life that's causing despair, maybe it's this amount of despair, maybe it's that amount of despair, I don't care. It's despair and it needs to be cut out. I need to get them to focus in on that. And so ultimately, becoming more mindful about that, especially for somebody like Tim, is difficult, because there wasn't much that on the outside looked like despair, But there was enough inside of there that if he was able to associate with it, then he would be able to level up himself. Whereas if he stayed complacent with where he's at, in the sparkle and the glam and everything that looked wonderful, and is wonderful, then how would he ever move on to the next phase, which is exactly where he was while he was caring for his mother, while he was getting out of that corporate landscape. And where many of us are in our time of life is a place that we need to kind of connect with our suffering so that we can find others who are also suffering and end up rising above and being able to give back to the universe after we rise above.
So, and you've written a couple books, right? Right, Mark?
Yes, I've written 2 books. Yep, you got one right here. This is a beautiful stream called Life, and those are just 150 different little inspirational mantras.
Oh, individual mantras?
Those are individual mantras.
Wow,
so that's not, I wouldn't even claim that to be much of a book. I mean, it's just those little thoughts came to me while I was training for my first Ironman after a very, very serious, time of depression where I didn't even think I could get out of bed. And I would ask God, I said, how would I even make it through this 2-hour cycling like, I can't do this. I can't even get out of bed this morning. I said, well, just give me like one thing to live for and to think about. And these thoughts would come to me. So I put them all on paper. And my first book's called My Suicide Race, which was ultimately I started training for an Ironman triathlon after a suicide attempt. Because my life had just started falling apart so much. I mean, I was diagnosed with a lung condition. I was supposed to be on oxygen by the time I was 36. I was swelling up. I was weighing about 230 pounds. I was pre-diabetic and I was hypertensive. And I had a baby on the way. So, my life was just kind of falling apart, and I needed to catch up with it somehow. So I had to start taking some action steps. And ultimately, I signed up for an Ironman. And what Ironman ended up helping do for me was give me first of all, give me a goal, but also make me go through a lot of micro lessons in a very controlled environment that if I was smart enough about them, I could generalize the lessons that I was learning inside a triathlon into everyday life. So ultimately, things like integrity, going through my entire workout and not cutting it short, because if I cut it short, I knew that the guilt of remorse would be heavier burden on me than the actual discipline of just going through it in the first place. And if I could apply that situation to other things like career, I could do anything that I wanted to,
Yeah, well, clearly smart boys. So tell us what's the future? What else are we adding to this line? And where are the products available? How can everybody reach you? But first start with what's the future?
It's the future. So we literally are now in this space of, we've been doing this for what, 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
Literally 3 years this month. Which is, to us, was kind of like the test to market. And now things are starting to bubble. Like we just doing this deal with the Bloomingdale's, where we're doing select Bloomingdale's, popping up and, testing the markets. We've done Miami, Boca. We're going to Tyson's Corner. Now they reached out to us to go to New York.
It's awesome, guys.
It's crazy. It's great.
That's really fantastic.
And trying to, because online we do our business mainly, or, through social media and in various boutiques, Charleston, the Colony, the Pioneer Linen, these types of places.
But they're very intimate experiences when you walk into the store.
Yeah.
Or to the pop-up event where I met you, Tim, and it's just you and the person. I mean, that's just so cool. I love that.
And that's our thing, it's like why we didn't, when we launched the business, before we even had the product, Women's Wear did a story on us, which set the bar way too high. So, at that time.
From your contacts.
Right.
Yeah.
And like people assuming, right? And it wasn't what it was at all, because we were very intentional with what we were doing. I mean, people still can't believe that we turned down talking to Ulta, Sephora, like even QVC. We almost signed a deal with them, like right as we were launching. We pulled back because we needed to do it our way and really connect with people. And now we're at a point where, we're revisiting conversations to move forward and expand the line. We'd love to add in, a complexion product, because as much as I still do a lot of makeup, I want things that are more universal, but we listen to our clients because we're playing and touching with them and, what they need, travel sizes, all these types of things that are so important. Easy to, because most of our clients now leave here and go to New York or back to Kentucky from Wellington, or, we have a whole other sideline. People are interested in us doing the products for their horses, which is a whole different world that we've dove into pretty quickly down here.
Which is beautiful. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, actually. It really is.
It's like self-care, the animal care.
For animal care.
The possibilities are almost endless, really, because
there's a lot of legs to this.
Nutraceuticals, lifestyle, there's a lot of things involved.
Exactly.
When we started, we actually thought we were going to do the nutraceuticals. We had bought all those raw ingredients, mixing them up on my dining room table like out of a movie.
Then we had a gummy for a short period of time. And so we may bring those back as well.
Yeah. Well, I think body and face is, that's kind of a great place to start, even whether it's humans or animals, actually, right?
And people are, I think, more so than ever, very connected to, we went through 3 years of being on Zoom calls. We recognize what we look like. We're more comfortable with it. We're not quite so needing to cover it all up. We'd rather just fluff it up a little,
Soon
get your
girls.
best look. You know? It's like,
Yeah.
we don't all have to,
Well, look,
go under.
a lot of times too, it's just about bringing back the life, and copaiba, its most profound effect is increasing blood flow and circulation to the skin. That's all. That's really what we need. We need that, and we need just to add that nourishment, and then ultimately, Halo42 is about helping people to their natural glow to really shine forth, and then at that
To have
point,
that halo.
yeah, and at that point, makeup only becomes artistry. It becomes an addition.
An enhancement.
It enhances.
Exactly. So where can we find the products, guys? Are you online?
Oh, so www.halo42.com, right? And of course, our Instagram, we took it back control of our own Instagram, which has been really fun.
I love your Instagram.
So that's Halo42 Skin. We incorporate Marquez Angel, his dog, of course, the Halo Angel, who's and I have Arthur, who just found me. So, we incorporate the dogs, we incorporate people to bring their pets to see us. It's a very personal brand. People reach out to us all the time to, share stories of whatever they might be going through, or, the things that we didn't know that they were, success stories. I had friends of mine from the L'Oreal world who are like, I'm buying your oil on the side. Like,
Exactly. It's great, guys. I'm so happy for you. And I love the message. I love the products. I need to incorporate that into my life. And you still do makeup, Tim?
Oh, yeah.
So people can also reach out to you for that as well. And Mark, you're still doing coaching?
I still do
or
coaching. Yeah.
You do wellness coaching. Okay. And you guys are based in Palm Beach or?
I'm in West Palm, Mark's in Boca Raton.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
a lot.
but you're in South Florida, but you
South
kind of
Florida.
go anywhere.
Palm Beaches is my location.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I will go all the way up to Hobe Sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, I'm seeing brick and mortar for you. I'm seeing a wellness center. That's what I'm kind of
Me
seeing.
too.
I don't know. I
That's
mean,
been on
love
the
that.
vision board,
It's really-
honestly.
yeah. Oh, you have a vision board too.
We have
yeah.
retreats and all of that stuff planned out.
Oh,
too.
it's so
Yeah.
great, you guys. I think this is really, really, really smart. I just love it. And I really love the message. And I just get really excited when I meet people that have an idea and then all of a sudden, it becomes a reality. And then you walk into all of our lives and how lucky we are to kind of have that happen.
Well,
so I'm
hopefully
really
you can-
blessed.
Hopefully you can walk into our brick and mortar experience and go
Exactly.
through the whole mindful, beautiful.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm going to be the first one to.
We'll do a week-long
Immersion.
immersion. yeah.
I'm ready to sign up.
All right.
After the Palm Beach season, we're all
Oh, right.
yes, we're all exhausted.
perfect.
Yeah. So, but it's important to kind of stay focused and stay on your own messaging. You know what I mean? So-
Well, that's part of all of it, right? It's like if you don't take care of yourself, nobody's going to, believe me. It's like,
it's a beautiful message, guys.
and they'll just keep taking. You did remind me of that. It's like I had to learn how to say no sometimes.
Yeah,
It's like-
because I just keep taking.
Boundaries.
Not you.
I'll just keep eating his French fries right off the plate till they're gone.
That's right. Boundaries. Yeah. Well, I'm so happy that you guys had some time to come into Perfectly Palm Beach today, and I really appreciate it, and I'm thrilled for you.
We're
Thank
so
you.
delighted.
I really
Thank
am.
you.
This is awesome.
Yeah, great guys. Yeah. So thank you again. And okay, we're out, everybody.
Round of applause.
Yeah, see you at the next episode of Perfectly Palm Beach and Privet Palm Beach Presents.
Please subscribe to our Privet Palm Beach Presents channel on Apple or Spotify to make sure you don't miss an episode, and check out theprivet.com to see the rest of our offerings. Privet Palm Beach Presents is produced by Team Privet, including Summers Laffey, Will Cannon, our friends at Mass Inbound, and music by Kevin MacLeod.